Hello, everybody. This is Highlander from MTG Cardsmith doing another custom Magic the Gathering card review, and I finally got a pop filter. Pop filter. We're getting real professional up in here. All right, so here we got another card by FireOfGolden. We got more self-made drawings here. Not exactly sure what's going on in this art. I mean, I see this is a shot of somebody from behind. But I can't really tell what's going on here with this thing. A little unclear. Anyway, this is Guiman, the Failed Wizard. Now, is this the Guiman or is this Guiman? I don't know. This is a 4 green Planeswalker, Guiman, Mythic. Whenever a figure horror dies, put a loyal counter on Guiman. Can be your commander. All right. Okay, so it comes in at 2 loyalty. That's quite low for a 6-mana Planeswalker. -1. Flip a coin. Take a sip of your tea. If it's heads, target creature gains +6/+6 until end of turn. Otherwise, create a green figure horror token 1/1. -X. Search your library for up to X figure horror. Put these onto the battlefield tapped, then shuffle your library. Okay, so let's see what's going on with Guiman here, and why is he? What about this makes him failed? That's what I want to know. Why is he a failed wizard? And what about this card says that he's a failed wizard? I mean, I guess I don't know. I'm a little unclear on that. So, okay. So this is a 6-mana Planeswalker that comes in at 2 loyalty and has no pluses. So that is pretty weak right off the bat. Okay, I have to say I'm not a huge fan of the -1 here. Because it's random. So, like, in situations where you want the +6/+6, you'll sometimes just not get it. And in situations where you want the figure horror, you sometimes won't get it. So, for example, let's say you play this guy and you want something to block, right? You're at 6 mana. They have, like, 1 creature on the board. You want to play this and play something to chump block, okay? And you're like, well, I guess I'll play this in -1 and hope that I get a 1/1, because if I don't, then literally nothing happens. And I just take loyalty counter away. Maybe that's why he's a failed wizard, because it's random. But generally, coin flip effects are on blue and red cards. You don't really... I mean, are there any green cards that have coin flip effects? I mean, there probably are some old ones, but let's take a look. Screefall. Oh, not Google search. Okay. Flip coin. Hello, I am Russian. Flip coin. Okay, the only is Flock of Rabid Sheep, which is a joke card. So, yeah, flip coin. That doesn't really happen on green cards, for one. And I really don't like it on a Planeswalker, especially. I mean, it's fine on, like, Ral's Eric, but, like, here, where it's, like, on a loyalty ability, like a non... It's a minus ability with a random outcome. Okay. Now, so, okay, let's look at this -X. Search your library for up to X figure horror. Put these on the battlefield tap, then shuffle your library. Okay, so you can actually just play this -2 it and get 2 figure horrors from your library onto the battlefield. That's pretty strong. That's probably how you would use this card. You would probably just pay 6 mana, -2, get 2, and then just put 2 creatures on the board. The rest of this card seems like kind of irrelevant. He doesn't really, like, have any way to use this passive ability, like himself at least. I mean, yes, he can sometimes make tokens, and he can also summon tokens, but he's not like a Liliana, right? Where like Liliana Dreadhorde General, where she's got this whenever a creature you control dies, draw a card, and then she has an ability that lets her use that passive. Each player sacrifices 2 creatures, right? And she makes zombies. So, I mean, just compare these 2 cards. They're just Liliana is just like eons better. The way I see this card is basically just a repeatable sorcery that lets you get 2 creatures out of your library, which is honestly a little bit OP. Okay, and when I say repeatable, I'm talking about in Commander specifically, right? So basically, like you hit 6, you play this guy, you -2, you get 2 creatures into play, whatever your best 2 figure horror. I mean, I don't know how many figure horrors there are. Okay, so I mean that is a limiting factor at least. Also, a very specific creature type, it has to be a figure and a horror. So it actually depends on. To be honest, it actually depends on what figure horrors there are, but like this is certainly not like a future-proofed ability, you know? Like for example, let me give you an example, right? A lot of the cards that were made in like the earliest Magic set alpha were sort of they didn't think about like other cards they would make in the future affecting it, right? Because like, you know, so like think about Dark Ritual, for example. Like the best thing you could do with the Dark Ritual is, you know, get a turn 1 Hypnotic Spectre, which is strong, don't get me wrong, but like it's not like game breaking, right? And I mean nowadays, like, I mean, there's like you can play Legacy Storm, you know, where you just like get to combo out and kill people with that. So I mean, it's the same thing with like a Black Lotus, right? I mean, it's like, what are you going to do? Black Lotus out your Sarah Angel, you know, or Black Lotus out, you know, it wasn't like there weren't as many cards. What am I trying to get at? Sorry, I kind of just rambled for no reason. So anyway, what I'm saying is like figure horror. I mean, like even if there are no like amazing figure horrors, you're not future-proofing yourself. Also, this does get any shapeshifter. So what's that? There's like a 7-mana shapeshifter. Or sorry, changeling is what I meant. Changeling. We're going to sort by rarity. Yeah, Morophon. So you can get a Morophon with this guy. Excuse me. And like, I don't know, a Chameleon Colossus, some other just expensive shapeshifter. Let's sort by mana value. Descending. So you get a Morapon and like, I guess there aren't that many like amazing ones, are there? But still, I mean, here you could get a. This has champion creature. Still, like, I mean, getting a Moropon plus like a Chameleon Colossus or something. I mean, and you're not paying the mana for that, right? You're minus X. You get 2 things without paying the mana. Now, granted, you've paid 6, but like that's strong. I mean, okay, compare this to Tooth and Nail, which does essentially the same thing, but if you want, but like it basically costs 9 to do this, right? If you pay the Entwine, this card costs 6. Okay, and it's repeatable in Commander, so it's like you pay 6, you get 2 things. Okay. Then 2 turns later, you play this at 8, get 2 more things. And you play it at 10, you get 2 more things, right? I mean, obviously it gets worse the more expensive this gets, but still, like that's like the only reason this card is good. And I think that part of it is too good. Excuse me. So yeah, I have to say I'm not a big fan of Guiman the Failed Wizard. I think he fails in my eyes. Let me do first. Okay, before I continue, I There's a lot of formatting and grammar issues on this card that I'm going to fix. And specifically, I want to say this to Fire of Golden. Fire of Golden, I know that it might not be the easiest thing for you to get, write things with correct grammar. But what I recommend that you do is look at cards that are similar to the effect you're trying to make and copy the wording. So, for example, I believe there's this like black planeswalker that has a similar effect to this. Black plane. I have to remember the name. Planeswalker spider. She makes spiders. Lolth, right? Whenever a creature you control dies, put a loyalty counter on Lolth Spider Queen. Lolth. Right. So this is very similar. So you can look at that and you can say whenever a figure horror dies. Also, you always capitalize creature types. Put a loyalty counter on Guiman, the Failed Wizard. And then you've got this other thing, can be your commander. So let's take a look at another card that can be your commander. Duretti, for example. Duretti Scrap Savant can be your commander. All right, so we can copy that wording. And Guiman, the Failed Wizard, can be your commander. So now we've got this perfectly written, and all we had to do was look up some cards that are similar to this one, okay? Let's do this next one. So -1, flip a coin. Okay. Let's take a look at a card flip card, just so we can get the wording correct. Flip coin. I am a Russian. Flip coin. In Russia, we flip coin, or coin flip you. Here we go. Let's find a kind of like a modern card. That's usually the best thing to do. Sort by release date. Release date. Okay. Tavern Swindler. Here we go. All right. Pay 3 life. Flip a coin. If you win the flip, you gain 6 life. Let's see if there's one that has a lose clause, because I think yours has one. This is a for each. Boop, 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 boop. Okay, well, I think we can get a decent idea of how to do this. So, flip a coin. If you win, oh, so you have this a little bit differently. So that's actually kind of okay. So if it's there's not really much of a precedent for if it's heads or not. If it's heads, target creature gains +6/+6 until end of turn. Otherwise, comma, create a group. Okay, so here's something I see a lot of people get wrong, which is the wording for creating a token. Okay, you have a green figure horror token 1/1. That's incorrect. That's okay, but this is a really easy thing to fix. Okay, so we're just going to look for a card that makes tokens, especially green ones. Text token. So here, Elderleaf Mentor, right? Create a 1/1 green elf warrior creature token. So that's the wording right there. So I'm going to pop this right over here for a minute. I'm going to pop this right over here for a minute. And then we're going to say, create a 1/1 green figure horror. You can see that the creature types are always capitalized. You can see that right here. Create a 1/1 green figure horror creature token. Okay, so now we got that written correctly. And now we'll look at the -X. All right. Search your library for up to X figure horror. Put these onto the battlefield tapped, then shuffle your library. All right, let's find a search your library card, shall we? Let's take a look at like Green Sun's Zenith. Okay. Search your library for a green creature card with converted mana cost X or less. Put on the battlefield and shuffle. I don't know how many tutors there are that care about creature type, but we can probably figure out how to do that. So we'll say search your library for up to X. Let's see. Figure horror cards. Notice how it says green creature card, because when it's referencing something in your library or in a zone that's not the battlefield, it always says card. You'll see that on graveyard effects as well. It'll say return target creature card from your graveyard to your hand. But if you're talking about something on the battlefield, like say an unsummon, it'll say return target creature to its owner's hand. Okay. Search library for up to X figure horror cards. Figure horror cards. You didn't specify creatures or not. I'm just going to say creature cards. Put these for up to X figure horror creature cards. Well, we're going to use Green Sun Zenith for this. Put them onto the battlefield, tapped, comma, then shuffle your. I think nowadays you can just say then shuffle. Actually, let's see if that says right here. Yeah, then shuffle. Okay. So what we've done here is we've rewritten this card, and this card now has, from what I can tell, perfect wording. And what we needed to do, we didn't necessarily need to be good at grammar or good at spelling or anything like that. All we had to do was look at existing cards that do similar things and copy the way that they are written. Okay, that's how I recommend that you start to make your cards. And this goes out to anybody. I'm not just talking to FireOfGolden. Getting the formatting correct for cards is important because, again, the big importance with formatting is that if your card is not formatted correctly, it'll be very distracting. Okay, and people will be less likely to like your card. Okay, so having perfect formatting is important. And all the best cardsmiths you'll see have perfect formatting. Okay, I mean sometimes they might make a small mistake here or there. I'm sure I do it as well. And I'm not saying I'm one of the best cardsmiths, but I'm just saying it's important to get these things right. Okay, so now that we got that out of the way, I have to say I'm really not a big fan of this design. I mean, the fact that basically this is a very expensive planeswalker that's essentially just a sorcery spell because his -1 is very bad. The fact that it's a coin flip on a -1, like, it would be a little less. I mean, I still wouldn't like it, but if it was like a plus, I wouldn't hate it as much because right now you're just paying like a major cost. You're paying a -1. Excuse me. For a random outcome, right? Sometimes you won't have a creature in play for the 6/6. Sometimes you want the 6/6 and you'll get a 1/1. These aren't like equally good, or these are good in completely different situations, right? So like this isn't the same thing as like, roll a die. If it's heads, you deal, or if it's heads, like deal 3 damage to something, and if it's tails, draw a card, or create a different type of token or something like that. Like at least those are sort of comparable, but here it's like +6/+6 is a lot, but you might not have a target for it, and like a 1/1 is not a lot, and like, because basically like this is good if you're on the offensive, okay? This is good if you're on the defensive. And so you want control over something like this, right? You really do. So having this like be like a flip effect, I think is just bad. I say you pick one of these and stick with it. Okay? Make 1/1s. Like if this guy was like +1, make 2 1/1s. Make 2 figure horror 1/1s. Now you're starting to talk, right? Because that sort of starts to work a little bit better with this ability here. And again, flip a coin is not really green, so. But then this here is like so good that I feel like you're just never going to use the -1. You're just going to play this guy and -2 him basically every time. So I have to say I'm not a huge fan of that. So one possible way you could adjust this card, and this is just a suggestion, there are lots of different ways you can go about this, but here's like a possibility, right? So how about you make this a plus, like a +1 or something, and you create like 2 1/1s. Now remember, this is a 6-mana Planeswalker, okay? So 6-mana Planeswalker got to pack a punch. All right? So you could even +2 make 2 1/1s, something like that. I mean, look at Elspeth. I think Elspeth pluses for 3 1/1s, if I'm not mistaken. Elspeth. Sun's Champion. She pluses 1 for 3 1/1s, okay? And starts at 4 loyalty. This guy starts at 2 loyalty, -1s to maybe make a 1/1. All right, so I think you could probably increase the starting loyalty. You can probably make this a +1 to make some number of 1/1 figure horrors, which will start to work a little bit more nicely with his passive here. And then on top of that, what you can do with this -X is make it, you can make it like -X and then say like sacrifice a creature or sacrifice a figure horror, whatever, sacrifice a creature. Search your library for a figure horror creature card with mana value X or less, and then put it onto the battlefield. Okay, so then you're starting to limit the power of this based on how much loyalty he has, right? So if you get him a really high loyalty, then he can get those Moropans or those really big, expensive cards. But and the nice thing about that too is you're sacrificing figure horror as part of the cost, but that also gives him another loyalty counter. So so it's just one suggestion, but I think right now this card is just basically his everything about him except for the -X is too weak, and the -X is too strong. So he's essentially just a sorcery right now. This card also doesn't feel very green. It feels, I guess this does feel fairly green, but whenever something dies, put a loyalty counter on them. That's actually, generally you see that in black. In fact, I think the only Planeswalkers that do stuff like this are in black, so just something to keep in mind. So yeah, I have to say, unfortunately for now, Guiman fails, and I'm going to have to give him a 4 out of 10. Excuse me. Yeah, okay, we'll go with the 4 out of 10. I think this guy could use a little bit more love. And I did talk about the art and when we looked at the previous card. I can't remember the name of it, but it was Guiman's assistant. And while I find this art to be very charming because you clearly drew it, and that's cool. And I think that's what you're doing with this figure tribal thing, is you're sort of using your art or using the figure type to justify the art. But it just again, it's that formatting issue. It's very distracting, right, for the card. So don't stop just because I like, basically here's what I'm saying. I have to take points off for that. I have to take points off for the art because the art is a big part of the presentation. But don't let me doing that stop you from doing what you enjoy, because clearly you enjoy doing this art. You do it for like all your cards. So just you do you, man. You do you, okay? So yeah, that's my review of Guiman, and this has been way too long of a video. Thank you guys for watching.